Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. You need to be watching multiple media sources. That includes Twitter and Zero Hedge, even CNN, Fox News, CBC News. You need to be watching all these sources, even RT, YouTube, whoever the personalities are there that you like to watch. There's a grain of truth in most information that you are receiving on the internet. It's not all true, but there's going to be a grain of truth in everything. Even CNN articles, there's going to be a little bit of truth in there, and then there's going to be spins and bias on top of that. I think it's important to understand because in the last days there's going to be great confusion and delusion. There's going to be great psyops as governments want you to be distracted from what's going on. Whether it be the Trump case or distract you from what's going on in Ukraine, and Ukraine seems to be getting defeated. They want to distract you from the economic troubles and all these sorts of things. And what are they going to do? They're probably going to distract you with war. News about the pandemic, has been increasingly coming out. News out of Japan about fighting back against these things, court cases. All sorts of truth is coming out about the events that have transpired over the last number of years. And the politicians are going to distract you from that. So you need to pay attention, have your head on a swivel, make sure you're paying attention to all news. And if big news comes out about something, whatever the topic of the day is, look in the opposite direction. Say, what could they be distracting me from? What sort of information? Now, this is War News 247 translated on Google. And it seems to be that the evidence is that Russia is overwhelming Ukraine. But not only that, I think we all knew that. But currently, it seems that Russia is also overwhelming American technology. Now, it's going to be a game of 4D chess. Does the U.S. have their most highest tech missile systems and tanks on the ground? Probably not. Now, they sent their M1A2 Abrams tanks, and Russia has actually captured one of them. They destroyed it, and they're putting it on show, I think, in Moscow. They're setting out for display, taking it as a trophy of war of sorts. But know that Abrams tank probably had a lot of tech removed from it so that Russia couldn't recover that technology. Regardless, it does appear that everything that the U.S. puts there in terms of increasingly technologically advanced armament and weapon systems, Russia has an answer to it, not the least of which is the ability and the use of hypersonic weapons. In fact, the existence of hypersonic weapons, which the U.S. is attempting to play catch-up with. So it seems like Russia so far is on top of all the technology. We haven't seen any technology out of the U.S. or other Western nations that has completely beaten or overwhelmed Russian technology. And that would be a game changer. Would they bring it out? They, maybe that they're saving that for World War III. They don't want to reveal their hand. They don't want to show the technology hand too soon so that Russia can't get a hold of it and reverse engineer it and come up with countermeasures, etc. But Russia is coming up with countermeasures against the asymmetrical warfare piece in terms of drones. The Ukrainian army is using drones quite a bit. And they put netting up around their oil tanks and all these sorts of things to prevent drone attacks, dumb drone attacks. And so it's it's a battle of technology. Who has the better technology? Now, this article is about hypersonic missiles, and these hypersonic missiles, are targeting Romanian and Polish bases. And Ukrainian F-16 strikes are coming. And so Russia has targeted Romania and Poland, of course, being NATO a nation in Poland. The targeting of airports there is of concern for NATO. Any strike on a member of NATO is going to bring in all of NATO. And they're just waiting for kind of that first strike. Who's going to throw the first punch into a NATO member to bring all of NATO into it? NATO's just kind of waiting for that to happen. NATO already has its troops on the ground in Ukraine. This is known. This is well known now, common knowledge. They're there for training purposes, or they're there to control the the Patriot missile batteries, whatever it may be, but they're not actively fighting against Russia. Okay, but they're in the Ukraine proper landmass and effectively fighting and funding the Ukrainians in a war against Russia. So at one point, will Russia say, okay, that's it? NATO is actively battling us. They are, but when do we go to all-out nuclear war? And Russia's nuclear doctrine is that they know they can't beat NATO or North America, United States, in a conventional war with conventional weapons. They never planned on that. They always planned to beat NATO or the West with nuclear weapons. That was the game that they were playing. They have such an arsenal of nuclear weapons that their aim was to win at all costs the nuclear war, not the conventional war, but the nuclear war. And so that's what they're ready for. But this goes on here. So they're actively targeting it now. They're targeting it, putting its Sarmat, Yars, and Avangard hypersonic missile systems on high alert after intelligence gathered that F-16 fighters, and we know those are on the way, as well as potentially Mirage 2000D Eurofighter Typhoons and Gripens, will operate from NATO airfields against NATO forces in Ukraine. So whether they're crossing the border or not, I think Russia sees this as a threat directly from NATO, and the fact that F-16s can be fitted with nuclear weapons. Russia won't have any idea if these are fitted with nuclear weapons or not. They will have to err on the side of caution and therefore attempt to win that nuclear war. It says, according to information that reached Moscow, if these fighters arrive en masse, they will be based outside Ukraine, not in Ukrainian airfields. This is NATO. And the United States constantly kind of tiptoeing around, just poking the bear, seeing how far do they have to go before Russia says, okay, NATO is fully on board. They're not going to fly these planes out of Ukraine. Maybe they'll just fly them kind of within the territory of Poland, but shoot across the border. What's it going to take for Russia to say, okay, that's it, that's the red line? But it says they will be based outside Ukraine, again, so not to trigger Russia to go into all-out war. And not at Ukrainian airfields, which are extremely vulnerable to Russian strikes. The information targeted Russian hypersonic missile and nuclear systems at Polish airfields in Zezau, Lask, Radon, Pawids, and Krezini, as well as Romanian bases Bacău, Bucharest, Câmpia, Târzi, Constanta, and Fătiși. Under the cover of Polish Patriot. So this is the Patriot missile system. It's run by Western soldiers, whether that's United States, whatever. According to the same information, Poland will protect Western Ukraine and Ukrainian fighter repositioning bases with Patriot anti-aircraft systems. Folks, we're in the middle of World War III. This is all of NATO against Russia, and it's only a matter of time before China then backs up Russia and says, okay, we're on board with Russia. Here we go. The sides are lining up. It's good guys versus bad guys. You take that for whatever you think it means. But West is fully in this war. Kiev and Warsaw are considering a scenario to protect the western regions of Ukraine with Polish Patriot systems. He noted that negotiations on this initiative are currently underway, including NATO representatives. Okay, so Russia is advancing. The West knows it. That's why the West is continuing to give new weapon systems, new armament, new Patriot missile systems and air defense systems to Ukraine because they have to, because Ukraine is losing. And that's the tell when they have to keep increasing the level of technology. When will the United States bring out its big guns, if you will, its secret technology, to see if it's actually better than Russian technology? So far, Russia's technology has been better. This is War News 247 as well. Special NATO meeting on the Baltic. Russian electronic warfare systems, quote, bomb all states in the region, causing no-fly zone. What they mean by this is that they took out GPS signals, causing a no-fly zone, apparently. And, I don't know why this isn't across the mainstream media news. This should be 24/7 news, on the news channels. But they took out and jammed GPS signals. So here's the detail. Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania have officially blamed Russia for Baltic GPS signal blackout, fully confirming an earlier report by War News 247. The same move will be made in the following days by Finland, Sweden, and Norway. This is a big issue, a serious issue, As soon as we go to World War III, all GPSs will stop working. Russia will just jam everything or destroy the satellites related. And then the supply chain across North America, across the West, will grind to a halt. All, FedEx, Canada Post, UPS, they all use GPS. Planes use GPS to fly. Everybody uses GPS to get around, to move goods and services. Ships use GPS. They're going to have to go back to LORAN or some other positioning system. And everybody relies on GPS now. Even you just pull out your phone. If you're trying to get to a store downtown, you use your phone to get there. What's going to happen when paper maps are not in high abundance, because people that haven't been using them don't even know how to use them, but then all of a sudden people are forced to use old-fashioned maps again? Well, it's going to be chaos. And this is just an example. This is a small example. What is happening in Ukraine right now with the GPS jamming. Again, when World War III starts, GPS systems will go down and people's heads will explode. You have no idea how much is connected to the use of GPS and how much this will cause just absolute interruption in so many services that we just take for granted. It says these countries have requested a special NATO meeting. According to the Baltic military sources, the situation appears to be much more serious. Russia, still unknown how or which systems, has killed the entire Baltic, creating many problems for ships, planes from Poland to Sweden, the Gulf of Finland. There is no GPS signal. They had to fly by sight. They had to fly by maps. They had to fly by older technology, which they have, but many people don't know how to use it. They're rusty on using the old systems, or many companies and systems in our supply chain just simply don't have the access to that. They'd have to dust off a bunch of old equipment, and navigate by moonlight or a star, the North Star or something like that. World War III is going to set us back a couple hundred years in terms of technology. It is important to emphasize that GPS signal jamming is not constant and does not occur only in a specific region, which means that it is a controlled jamming process with specific targets. So Russia has the technology to control where it jams GPS, but know also that if they can jam it in specific locations, which is pretty cool technology, maybe with directed energy weapon or focusing antennas. But that means that they can also take all of the GPS out, and that they have provisions to take out the GPS satellites just to wipe it all together and not have to deal with jamming at all. Now, there is such a thing as ground-based GPS, but that would be easy to locate with radio frequency direction finding equipment. That's no-brainer stuff. That's old stuff that certainly the militaries have the ability to do, so they can take them out with a hypersonic missile, or probably even less than that. Just someone on the ground going and taking a hammer to the GPS beacon that's addressing that. So that's one piece of U.S. technology that is not working. Does the U.S. have a backup for the GPS system? What is the backup? I don't think anybody has heard of anything. Certainly I haven't. And again, currently Russia is beating the United States, the West, with technology. This is actually Press TV. And this is the news of ATACMS missiles that the U.S. has sent to Ukraine. So these are, they sent short-range ATACMS missiles. Now these are medium-range ATACMS missiles. Ukraine was going after Crimea. And Russia knows how to shoot these things down. Remember, U.S. doesn't have, at least that we know of, hypersonic missiles. There's certainly no hypersonic missiles, Western hypersonic missiles in Ukraine. So Russia's taking them out with their S-300, S-400, whatever it may be, S-500 systems. And again, just an example that Russia has the better technology currently. And if the West has it, it's not showing its hand yet in Ukraine. So they've shot down 6 U.S.-made ATACMS launched by Ukraine. And basically they say they're going after Crimea. It says, in a statement on Tuesday, the Russian Defense Ministry said that Ukrainian forces launched a missile attack on the Crimean Peninsula overnight, but Russian air defense systems intercepted 6 U.S.-made MGM-140 Army Tactical Missile Systems, ATACMS, 10 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles, 6 ATACMS tactical missiles manufactured by the United States, and 2 guided Hammer aircraft bombers manufactured by France were shot down by air defenses. So every technology including the Abrams tanks that is in Ukraine, is being destroyed by the Russian army. Russia is so far winning. I think Russia still has more technology up its sleeve, especially with the S-500 system. And who knows what else beyond the hypersonics, which they've had a lot of good testing for in Ukraine. And the United States doesn't have an answer to hypersonics yet. They're testing them, but they're certainly not used in Ukraine right now. Are they holding them back? Do they have the technology? Where's the advanced laser technology? We know Israel is working on advanced laser technology to take out drones and other aircraft without shooting actual, physical objects like a chunk of metal in the shape of a bullet or a missile, for example. But it takes huge amount of power. There's a huge amount of technology related to it, and that hasn't come out in the field yet. So we don't know what the West is holding back. Of course, everybody hopes, even if you're not on the side of the West and you think the West is poking the bear, you still hope that the West is able to beat Russia when it goes to World War III. But we don't know that yet. And so far in Ukraine, certainly it appears as if Russia is making significant advances and it currently beats out on the technological front in terms of weaponry and defensive and offensively. So stay up on things. We're in the middle of World War III. It will only get worse from here. What's going to come next is a distraction by your government. They don't want to scare the public because they don't want us to panic, which would cause them to get a bunch of police and army on the ground. And they don't want that. They want to focus resources elsewhere. So they're going to keep us fat, dumb, and happy as long as they can. And but you need to be the one who has your eyes open, watching alternative media, putting two and two together, reading between the lines, knowing that there's a grain of truth probably in just about every media broadcast, whether that's left, right, whatever, and being able to pull that out and line it up with the Bible and Bible prophecy and say, okay, this is what the Bible says is happening in the last days. Does it look like that's happening in the world? And I would suggest to you that indeed it is. So be prepared, folks. I hope you know the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. He's coming soon. Hit the subscribe button, and you're welcome to become a member and support the channel if you'd like, and that would be much appreciated. But in these last days, you need to prepare. Hard times are coming. We will live through the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and you need to get ready for that.